Hi guys, how's it going today? I decided to come back with yet another product review. I have shown you all of the appliances through our house. One thing though, if you've watched any of my recipe videos, you know we love our Instant Pot. So I decided it's probably a good time to share my full thoughts on the Instant Pot and all the features. You need to go play this. Okay. This little guy is where we started. This is the 6-quart Instant Pot. This was a gift for Mother's Day. This year will be 3 years ago. So I've had it for right about 2.5 years. And I was terrified of it, honestly. And I hear this a lot. People are intimidated. They don't know what to do with it. I was right there. I didn't even take it out of the box. Now let me rephrase that. I left it sit for a few weeks. Sean took it out of the box thinking it would make me use it. And then it just sat there for 6 months because I was terrified. I really didn't know what to do with it. Then I watched a video of another gal. I think she was making butter chicken and she made it look so easy. And she showed the saute function, which seriously rocked my world. Seeing her video really just changed the way I looked at it completely, and it made such a huge difference. One thing that Sean really loves is using it as a rice maker, because right about the time we started using it, our rice maker died. We used that thing a lot. And so he went ahead and made it in this and realized he likes the way it cooks in this a little bit better. I think I like the rice maker, but I actually really like it in here too. So we used that for quite a while, but poor little 6-quart was just not keeping up with our family of 9 anymore. Everybody would barely get one serving and there was absolutely no leftovers. So about a year ago, we got the 8-quart on, I believe, a Black Friday special and gave half price for it on Amazon, which is a really great place to get it. And love it. Now obviously we've kept them both because I make soups and things in the 8-quart. I make Biko and things, which I need to do a video on soon, in the 6-quart. And depending on what else I'm making, if I'm making a side dish, I'll do it in the 6. If I'm making the main portion of the meal or more of something, I'll do it in the 8. It just varies. Sometimes they're both going, sometimes one. It just works. So that is that. One thing we have learned, you know, I have to admit, I can't decide whether to have myself in the video or just these, but one thing I say that we have learned is your elevation will affect how it cooks or how it comes to pressure. We have lived on both ends of South Dakota, which the elevation varies quite a bit actually. And we started using it on the east end of the state at a lower elevation, got used to how it cooked, and when we moved back out to the Black Hills, we had to relearn how to cook in them. Honestly, the saute works the same, but things either cooked faster or slower. It took longer to come to pressure or less. Honestly, I can't remember which is which. I think it comes to pressure higher or faster at a higher elevation, but then it also cooks slightly differently. So the timing is not exactly the same. That's something to keep in mind too if you ever try my videos or the recipes in the videos, is the timing could be very different on them. That would be honestly one complaint, but I can't even complain about it because baking is the exact same thing. Things cook or bake differently at a higher elevation than they do a lower elevation. So again, you have to learn to bake differently if you change. I never mastered baking at a lower elevation, could not get it right. Now we're back and I'm realizing I still love to bake. So now I'm going to give you a closer look at each one, the pros, the cons, things I've learned, and you guys can do what you want with it. Okay, so at first glance, yes, you can see that there's a size difference. That is going to only matter based on the size of your family. You pick which size works for you. If you want more than one, whatever works. The control panel on both, which I really should have wiped these down first, but I did not. The control panel on both are identical. They have the exact same functions and stuff. This is the Duo, which has, gotta find it here. Oh, here we go. Has a yogurt option. I have all of the stuff to make homemade yogurt. I just haven't done it yet. I actually really need to try that soon too. And there's other models that do not have the yogurt function. So you really have to pay attention to that. I'm actually going to come around to the back side really quick so I can show you my one complaint. The 6 quart has a really long cord. The 8 quart has a much shorter cord. So the bigger the Instant Pot, the smaller the cord. It's actually kind of a pain because I have to be able to sit the big guy right next to an outlet in order to use it. Whereas the 6 quart, I can plug in and have it sitting a little ways away. Now, on the back here, you're gonna see the steam catchers, drip catchers or whatever. When, my Instant Pot is really gross, so I'm just gonna apologize for that. When you cook in it and stuff and you drip and whatnot, condensation can come in around this rim and it goes into this hole, which comes down into the drip catcher, which these, while very handy for the fact, are a pain in the rear to clean. You almost have to have like a nipple brush from a bottle brush in order to get down in there. We lost ours at some point because we don't have bottles around anymore. And so trying to wedge a washcloth end down in there, it just does not get that clean. And I'm actually seeing this one over here. Looks like the kids forgot to clean it again. So there's that. But that's also why the inside rim of this gets kind of nasty, is because of all of that running down and dripping down in there. So another negative I'm going to point out is actually this rim right in here, because as you can tell, there's stuff caught in mine and it's gross. I do need to clean it again. But while the steel pot comes out to be washed and stuff, which you can see there's some kind of residue on the bottom, that is actually like on there. It is smooth. This is a little bit cleaner than it's looked in a while. It takes insane effort to get that residue off, which is kind of a pain, but we have dealt with that. Anyhow, so in here, you've got your heating element. There's this pressure trigger so that it knows that the pot is even in there so it can turn on. Because of these little lips that go around to hold the lid into place, it is next to impossible to get under there to clean it. You have to use a washcloth and wedge it in and drag it along, and even then, it's really hard to get that clean. But that is the drip basin. So stuff gets in there. That, along with the cords, are my two biggest complaints, and how difficult it is to clean those. Next, I'm going to jump into the inside of the lid here. Now, as I've said in a video before, you can see mine is very yellow. This is a savory ring. This is one that we use for savory foods and things like that. These silicone rings are replaceable. Before every use, you want to inspect it, make sure it's not drying, cracking, or have any issues, because it will not come to pressure if your silicone ring is not any good. The discoloration, it's silicone. That's going to happen. We have a brown one that we use for sweets, like when I make Bico. This little cover, let's see if I can get this off here. I actually had to set the camera down a sec to do it. This is your pressure valve. This is a cover just to help protect food and chunks from getting up in there. You can pull it off to wash it and then just snap it back into place. This right here is actually your pin. So they work together. This one, now in this lid, it's got kind of like a metal ring around it and this little silicone end. But I'm going to show you really quick. I'll put this steel pot back in to the 6 quart. Okay, let's see, you can compare. This is the 8 quart lid. This is the 6 quart lid. 6 quart protects just the valve, not the pin. 8 quart has this large cover that protects both. Now you can see it's got the exact same pin setup, and underneath the valve looks exactly the same, but it's got this larger cover that protects both. And I actually really appreciate that on this one. Again, you can see that this ring has yellowed a little bit, but that's just because of the foods we make. We use a lot of tomato-based foods and a lot of seasoning. So in here really quick, this is that residue I was talking about. This is completely smooth. So it looks gross, but we use this one the most, and we also make the refried beans in this, and I think that's part of what leaves it. I don't typically make it in this one. So as you can see, the rim on this one, stuff gets trapped more the closer you get to these lips. Same thing. So you can see that that's how that is. So there are the 6 quart, the 8 quart InstantPot Duos. Okay, so now that I've shown you the Instant Pots, I showed you the things I don't care about them. Past that, honestly, I love it. I wish I had started using it sooner, but I'm not gonna beat myself up over that. We use these really frequently. I don't think we go a full week without using at least one, if not both of them, at least once, if not more. So they're really loved in our house. They were very worth the money for us. One complaint I have heard from others is the texture of the food as they come out. Now, this is something I actually wanted to address really quick, because somebody told me once that they had it and they hated it because everything seemed mushy. Okay, two things with that. First of all, if you overcook it, it's going to be mushy. That's just the way it is. But the next thing with that is you can't expect food to come out like as if it was being cooked in the oven. It's not going to crisp. Nothing comes out of a pressure cooker crisp because it's cooking with moisture and pressure. You have to keep that in mind. So if you prefer all of your food to have that oven baked texture, Instant Pot's not for you. If you like the idea of easy soups and things, then great. Now that's another complaint I've actually heard, is people say, well, I could cook this, I could make the soup on the stove just as fast because of the time it takes to come to pressure and then cook and then release. There are some soups you absolutely could. For me personally, I love being able to throw everything in and walk away. I do not need to come back even once until it beeps at me and says I'm done. So I prefer it. At the stove, you've got to constantly check it, stir it, make sure it's not scorching to the bottom, make sure it's not boiling over. That's not something I have to worry about with the pressure cooker, is it's not going to boil over on me. So it depends on what you make and what your preferences are. I am all about ease and convenience. It's just something that I need for the stage of life that we're in. Now, are there some things I can make on the stove? Absolutely. Did I make soups on the stove before the Instant Pot? No. That might be another thing, is I did not make a lot of this stuff. There are some things I made in the crock pot, so really slow cook all day, but I would now prefer to make most of them in the Instant Pot just for the ease and the timing. Because making chili over the course of 8 hours in the Instant Pot, in the crock pot, I can make in an hour in the Instant Pot. That's with my soaked beans that have not been cooked yet and all of that. They have to cook for quite a while, and in the crock pot even longer. So for me, this really is a time saver. I don't have to plan out my entire day. Sorry about the kids yelling. I don't have to plan out my entire day and have food prepped and started in the morning. I can get closer to mealtime and be like, oh, you know what? I'm in the mood for this. I'm going to do this now. That's my style. So I actually love it for some of the same reasons other people don't. You have to decide which type of personality you are and what you would want it for. I do also highly recommend, strongly, but with a warning, the Facebook Instant Pot community group. It's called Instant Pot Community. Recipes galore. You will notice a trend where there's always one food that everybody's super excited about for a few weeks usually, and then they move on to the next food and everybody's trying it. So hard-boiled eggs, cheesecake, yogurt, yep, those are all things you can make in the Instant Pot. But those are things that you will see everybody suddenly making. And so you have to do a lot of searches to find other recipes mixed in with that, which can be a little annoying. I haven't been on there a lot in a while because I have gotten really used to using it, but I got so many great tips and learned so many things that I do credit that group with some of my success with it. So if you get one, I encourage that. Now, here's with the warning. Aside from the so many foods you're gonna make that you're gonna wish you didn't know about, because cheesecake, that easy in the Instant Pot, could be in trouble. I have never made that for that reason. I don't wanna get in trouble with it. But the other thing is they are not very friendly or kind to somebody in the group who does not own an Instant Pot. If you own a different brand, that is your choice. There is nothing wrong with that. But the group is actually sponsored by the company, so they do not give advice, tips, help, or anything to any other brands. So keep that in mind. You can go for the recipes and stuff, but if you have a different brand, I would avoid selling anybody because they will eat you alive if they're in a bad mood. So there is that tip and that warning, as well as a full look at both of my Instant Pots and my thoughts on it. If you guys have any questions, do not hesitate to leave it down in the comments. I typically get back to things pretty quickly, so I will do my best on that. Otherwise, if this was helpful at all, I would love a thumbs up. Also, make sure to subscribe to my channel and even hit that notification bell, because I have so many more videos coming besides recipes. I will also have more product reviews in the future, and I don't want you to miss any of it. We will see you, though, in the next video.